Kali, hi, Jim Delapine here. I want to give you some video feedback on what you did here. This looks looking good. So let me hit Control 0 to fit the document in the window. And I love the background here. It looks great. I want to give you some tips on the text here. The text is kind of like randomly placed and really kind of meaningless. So I want to see if I can show you how to integrate that into the background. And also, let's see if we can, let's see the top hat here. Let's see if we could add a little bit of animation to this. So I'm going to hit Control T with the top hat um, layer active. Now note also, if you're in the Move tool, make sure you have Auto Select checked. All right, and this way, whenever you click on any pixels, it'll go right to that layer. So I'm going to select the top hat layer, hit Control T, and it's centered here. So I mean, if you can drag the center point wherever you want and then rotate it based on that center point. Okay, I'm also going to use my arrow keys to increment that into position, and I guess that looks like it'll fit. So I'll hit enter to apply it, and let's see if we can create a shadow for this. Okay, so you want to basically ground the elements to your character, so this requires a shadow in here. So let me zoom in, Control Spacebar clicking will zoom in, Control Alt Spacebar clicking will zoom out. Okay, so here we have this. So now what I'm going to do is select the doll head layer, okay, and I'm going to control click on the layer mask for the head layer. That puts a selection around that, all the opaque pixels on that layer. And then what I'll do is I'll create a layer, a new layer above that. All right, so that is underneath the head, which is actually, yeah, that's underneath the top hat. So back here, um, above the head layer, I have a new layer. So I'm going to paint on this new layer, okay? And you want to keep it on isolated layers, separate layers, so you have creative control. So I'm selecting the paintbrush, and I'm going to go to 0% hardness, all right? And then I'm going to increase my brush size by hitting the right bracket key. That will increase your brush size. Left bracket key will decrease it, all right? So I want to get a fairly large brush. And then I'm going to paint with gray. So if I'm going to click on the foreground color and select a medium gray here, dark gray, and hit OK. So that's my new background color. Now what I'll do is simply click and paint, and that's not what I want. That doesn't look good. So let me just reduce the brush size. All right, and basically I want to start painting in here. All right, so I'm painting like this. So it doesn't look very good yet. It looks like a blob of paint on there. So what you're going to do is put that into multiply mode. So that's a true shadow. All right, so let me increase my brush size now. All right, and then I'm going to just slowly click. The larger the brush, the more of a like a blur, okay, you'll get. All right, I don't know how good that's looking. So um, it's a little much. So instead of going back and erasing these pixels, I'm going to work with the layer mask. So I'm going to apply a layer mask to that. And then if I paint with black, I can now mask out part of that. So it's a way of just getting better control. Okay. Let me see here. A larger brush. And, it takes some playing around. So then what I do is I would go back to the image now and maybe even paint with a darker gray because wherever something touches the surface, it's darker. So and then it slowly dissipates as it gets away. So something like that. Okay. So I'm not saying that's the best, but you may also want to just click around the edges here just to get definition because the background is kind of the values are similar, so you also can kind of like shift click around the edges, which looks not too good. Just undo that. Get a larger brush, and you can actually slowly build it up by lowering the opacity of the brush. That might help. So now you can just kind of do that. I'm just trying to get some definition so the head pops out against this background here. All right, so there's that. Okay, so everything else is looking great. I love the background. Um, let's talk about the text. So let me hide this text layer that you created, and I created other text up top here. So Terrible Toys Todd. So I'm just going to, it doesn't matter the color yet, but let's just work with Todd for now. So I'm going to bring Todd down here and scale it up. So hit Control T, scale it up, and then what I'll do is distort this. So you can go to Edit, whoops, actually let me see here. We hit Enter and then go to Edit, Transform. You don't have access to perspective, all right, and that's what I want to do. So what you need to do is rasterize the text here. So you right click on the Todd text layer and select rasterize type. Then you'll have access to Edit, Transform, Perspective. That means you can click on, and let me just move this over and center this. You can click on any corner in the lower part and pull this out. So now what's happening is that it's kind of I'm matching this up with the lines of the floorboards here. So I'll hit Enter to apply that, and that's close. But notice this line here. If I hit Control T again, I can hold down the Control key and pull that out, very carefully. All right, something like that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is Control click on the Todd layer that I just created and then hide that layer. Then I'll go down to my background layer, all right, and then hit Control J. All right, if you're in the Mac, every time I say Control, replace it with Command. So what that did was it brought what was in that selection from the background layer to the layer above. Now what you can do is apply a layer mask, a layer style to it by double clicking, and the layer styles dialog box comes up. And I'll start out with bevel and emboss, and then select the name so you have access to those settings for bevel and emboss. And now you can also, like here, you can control the light source by clicking this dial and dragging it around. Okay, so you can do something like that. And I note that this still doesn't line up over here correctly, but it's close. All right, so now what you can increase the size of it. You can fool around with these settings here, experiment with it to see what you like. But now if we want this to stand out more, all right, and I don't mind that the characters, the letters go off the edge of the document here. You may want to bring a little color into it if you want, or you can leave it as is. But you can select color overlay and then click on the name, and then you can sample, like, let's say you wanted to sample like a color from Todd here. You click on this color window here. It gives you access to the color picker. And now once you have that color picker dialog box open, once you drag your cursor outside, it becomes a color sample tool. So you can select any color you want in here, all right, and sample that. So let's just say it's I don't know, brown. Let's say stick with that. All right, so I'll hit OK. Now what you want to do is you can decrease the opacity, or you can change that to multiply mode. And you can fool around with that. Multiply mode, going back to normal will give you the actual color. You can experiment with layer modes for this. You get some interesting results. All right, so I'll just leave that as is. And Terrible Toys, you may want to, let's see here. I'm going to separate this into two lines because, let me see, do that, and then we'll select this all and center it. And then what we'll do is increase the size. So Control T. You see, Control T brings up the character palette if you have the text selected with the text tool. So what you need to do is click away and then hit Control T. All right, so that allows you to scale it. So I'll just do this, and I'll scale this up. I'm not even going to worry about it being in proportion. So I can do that. All right, and then what I'll do is go to my toys, and I'm going to scale that up. So right now, this is scaling up to 100 49 points. I'm going to highlight this and make it 300 points and see how that works. It's a little much. Let me make it 290. All right, and that's fine. But now this is a text thing. All right, this is called leading. So I can highlight this, hit Control T, and then up here, see this? This is the space in between lines of text. So if I click and drag, you can scrub this down. It's kind of a delicate thing, so you got to slowly do it. I'll do there. Okay, I'll hit Enter. So now what I'll do is I'll hit Control. I'll Control click on that Terrible Toys, hide that layer, go back down to the background, and hit Control J to copy that to the layer above. And then you can apply the layer style to that. What I can also do, a little tip here, I can hold down my Alt key and steal this layer style by clicking and dragging it to here. So see that double arrowhead? That's a duplication icon. So I'll let go there. So now that same effects, the color overlay, bevel and emboss, has been transferred over here. But what you can also do is double click on the FX icon to get access to those settings again, and you can adjust or edit just that layer style. So I'll go back up here. I may want to, I don't know, add some color to this. Let's just say okay, but this is a weird, let me just go back to normal. I may want to apply some color in there and experiment, you know, saturation, see what you come up with, all right? So I'll hit OK to that. So yeah, I just wanted to throw out those few tips for you as to how you can make this work better. Again, the shadowing is important. All right, I don't know, I didn't do a very good job with the shadow for the hat, but you know, you basically have to ground that hat to the head, all right, and that'll make a big difference. All right, take care, bye.